At the TechCore Industries Robotics Expo in Silicon Valley, excitement buzzed in the air. Their latest innovation, a $10 million humanoid robot named Titan, was moments away from being revealed to the world. Sleek, powerful, and designed to revolutionize multiple industries, Titan was meant to be the star of the day. But just before the live demo began, Titan froze. Sparks flickered, its head jerked, then silence. In a matter of seconds, the control room was in chaos. Engineers shouted over one another, code flashed on screens, and lead designer Dr. Marcus Lee grew more frantic with each failed reboot attempt. "We've lost all motor and logic response," someone called out. TechCore's CEO, Cassandra Ward, watched with growing rage. She had invited investors, reporters, and key industry figures. A failure now would be catastrophic. "I want it fixed immediately," she snapped. Meanwhile, just across the street at a small cafe called Luna Beans, 22-year-old Ellie Carter refilled a customer's coffee. "Here you go, sir," she said with a smile. Once a promising engineering student, Ellie had given up her Caltech scholarship after her father's sudden death. She now worked double shifts to support her younger brother. But her love for engineering never died. She read robotics manuals on her breaks and tinkered with old tech in her tiny apartment. On the cafe TV, a news banner read, "TechCore demo halted, technical difficulties." Ellie tilted her head. "Uh-oh, that can't be good." Back at TechCore, nothing worked. 40 engineers had tried everything. Titan remained lifeless. A junior intern, Tommy, hesitantly spoke up. "I know someone who might help. A girl from the cafe. She's not an engineer, but she knows her stuff." Cassandra raised an eyebrow. "We're about to lose everything, and your plan is to call a waitress?" "She's brilliant," Tommy insisted. "Just give her a shot." Minutes later, Ellie was pulled from her shift and brought into the lab, still in her cafe uniform. The engineers stared at her like she didn't belong. "Okay," she said, ignoring the whispers. "What diagnostics have you run?" Marcus rolled his eyes. "She's not serious." But Ellie walked straight to Titan's chest panel. "Has anyone checked the physical trace lines in the core chamber?" Silence. She opened the panel and spotted the issue within seconds. "This wire's burned out. It's basic, but it shut the whole thing down. I can fix it. I just need copper." She looked at Cassandra's ID badge. "That lanyard has copper wire. Can I use it?" With a nod, Ellie carefully replaced the wire using only a badge filament, a paperclip, and a borrowed tool. The team watched in disbelief. "Try rebooting now," she said. They did. Titan's eyes glowed. Its limbs moved. "Systems restored," it said. The room gasped. Cassandra turned to Ellie. "You fixed a $10 million robot with a coffee shop hairpin and some copper thread." Ellie smiled. "Sometimes the smallest fixes make the biggest difference." The moment Titan powered back on, the lab erupted in stunned silence. 40 engineers, some with decades of experience, just stared as the robot they had failed to revive came to life because of a young waitress in a coffee-stained apron. Titan's robotic voice echoed, "All systems functional." Cassandra Ward, TechCore's powerful and usually unshakable CEO, slowly approached Ellie. "You just fixed a $10 million prototype with a paperclip and copper wire." Ellie smiled sheepishly. "It's not about the tools. It's about understanding the problem." Behind her, Dr. Marcus Lee still looked shell-shocked. This isn't possible. You didn't even look at the software logs." "I didn't need to," Ellie replied. "Sometimes it's not a software issue. The logic sequencer was dropping into safe mode because of a shorted filament. Once I fixed the physical trace, the system reset itself." Cassandra crossed her arms, studying Ellie. "What's your name?" "Ellie Carter." "Where did you go to school?" I got into Caltech," Ellie said hesitantly, "but I had to drop out. Family reasons." "You're not working in robotics?" "No," Ellie said with a shrug. "I make lattes." A pause. Then Cassandra turned to Marcus. "You and your team couldn't fix this." "She did. On the spot, without any lab access or clearance. You want to explain that?" Marcus muttered something under his breath, embarrassed. Cassandra turned back to Ellie. "What would you say if I offered you a job?" Ellie blinked. "Are you serious?" Completely. We need minds that can think differently. You just saved our company's biggest launch and our reputation. Ellie looked around the room, at the stunned engineers, at the glowing robot, at the lab she once dreamed of working in. I'd say yes. 2 weeks later, headlines exploded across the tech world. Waitress fixes 10mm robot, outperforms entire engineering team. From coffee to code, the genius behind Titan's miracle reboot. Ellie started her first day at TechCore as a junior robotics engineer. She traded her apron for a lab coat, her notepads for high-end diagnostics tools. But she never forgot where she came from. Her story went viral, and soon schools across the country were inviting her to speak. She told kids, especially girls from small towns and underprivileged homes, that talent doesn't always wear a suit or carry a degree. One afternoon, as she stood beside Titan during a live tech demonstration, a reporter asked, "What was going through your mind when you stepped into that lab for the first time?" Ellie smiled. "Honestly, I was just hoping I wouldn't get kicked out for touching the robot." The room burst into laughter. But Cassandra, watching from backstage, nodded with pride. Because Ellie Carter, the girl with grease-stained sneakers and a heart full of grit, had done what no one else could. She reminded the world that genius doesn't always come from a title. Sometimes it comes from a diner across the street.